being concise is one of the things that it's something to practice and get better at. I used to do a massive preamble, I realized, before I would land a question. And sometimes the question was also stacked. It would be 2 or 3 questions in one. And it's a really messy way of being in conversation, especially when we're coaching somebody. So I know for me, I had to really trim back, pause, and think about what is it that I want to ask or want to know, or what is it that they have said that I think is worth probing into a little bit more. So when we have to be concise, it forces us to do that pause, think about what we want to say, and then land a question. And what we think, or why our preamble, or why we explain why we're asking the question, not so relevant. Right? It doesn't add anything to the conversation. It actually, introduces more concepts than maybe are relevant for this conversation or this discussion. That's for you to judge as to, am I right, am I wrong, or where's that level for you in terms of explaining why you're about to ask the question you're going to ask. So being concise is super important, just learning to be more thoughtful and intentional about what you say or what you ask. Change, that's something that we have to factor in, right? For some people, just anything that changes is difficult. So that adaptability and the accountability of someone following through. And that will happen with your direct reports, where you contract and agree that they're going to undertake a certain set of actions and they may not do it. And we'll get into it later. You'll see that in the lectures, that if something didn't happen, what did we miss? But also, what do we need to recontract? And sometimes that's the right thing to do, is just to recontract. Okay, maybe that stretch was too big. Maybe, the bit that we missed was actually you didn't have the confidence, or you didn't know how to do X. And asking for help is not something you're comfortable with, so nothing happened. So, those are areas for them to grow on. And that's what did we miss? Okay. And therefore, what's the stretch? Is the stretch appropriate? Is the task that you're expected to do? It might seem really straightforward for us, but the individual may have great difficulty with something and they may not be able to articulate that. It could be as simple, honestly, as I don't know how to use PowerPoint. And their confidence with using a certain tool just isn't there, but they're too afraid to ask, especially with, more junior people. But honestly, even with senior people who just might find something really difficult, will find it difficult to articulate. So, yeah. And it's an important topic to raise. And I think one of the nice things about coaching skills is it creates an opportunity for different behaviors to surface, right? I think we get really used to norms of behaviors in the workplace that have been typically shaped by, the community that's been there the most, or in that space. And so slowing down to understand different perspectives, I think allows for a much more inclusive way of showing up for our people and modeling that. And also advocating. What you realize is that in leadership, you're advocating for others, you're advocating for members of your team. And in order to be doing that in full mode, we have to advocate for ourselves. And that is something that I think culturally and gender-wise, some people struggle with. I'm sure, we can recognize it, if not appreciate it firsthand.